Welcome to our learning lesson for today. We will be learning how to make a box and whisker plot. Please take notes as you progress through this lesson. As a math student, I'm sure you've come across many examples of visually represented data. Pie charts, bar graphs, and scatter plots are some examples of these tools. Box and whisker plots are another method of visualizing data to help us make sense of it. But first we need data. We're going to look at the number of points Kevin from our second period class has scored in his last 7 games. In the table you will see the data listed. We're going to use this data to help us evaluate Kevin's performance over this 7-game span. Once you have your data, you'll take your number of points listed here, and we need to organize it from least to greatest. So we'll write it out here. We can now identify the maximum and the minimum for our data. These numbers are the first numbers in our 5-number summary. Okay, so we want to know what the maximum is of our data and the minimum. So we know that the maximum is the highest number and the minimum is the lowest number in the data set. So the highest number in our data set is 30 and the lowest number in our data set is 5. Next, we need to identify the median. The median is the middle of the data set. So we need to work our way in. And we see that 16 is the middle number in our data set. Next, we need to find the lower quartile and the upper quartile. These are often referred to as Q1 and Q3 for the upper quartile. To find the upper quartile, you need to think of our median as splitting our data into 2 regions. You have the numbers that are larger than the median, and that would be our upper quartile. And the numbers that are lower than the median, and that would be our lower quartile. Now the upper quartile is just the median of the upper region, so we find the median, we're looking at 18. And the lower quartile's median is 10. Now we have all we need to construct our box and whisker plot. Notice there are 5 numbers in the 5-number summary. Start with a number line that fits our data. Make sure your increments are equally spaced. We mark our data above the number line, so we just start off, we can start marking with our maximum, our minimum, the median 16, the lower quartile is at 10, and the upper quartile is at 18. Construct a rectangular box around the median using the lower quartiles as the edges. And draw a line connecting the median to the box. Now to create the whiskers, you need to connect the maximum to the box by connecting it to the upper quartile, and the minimum to the box on the other side, connecting it to the lower quartile. Notice that the graph itself is broken into 4 quadrants. Each represents 25% of my data to make the whole. Now what you're probably thinking is, how can we use this graph to evaluate Kevin's basketball performance? If we look at this graph, we have Kevin has scored at most at a maximum of 30 points and a minimum of 5 points. It's unrealistic to expect Kevin to score these 2 points totals in an average game. But if we look at the area inside of the box, this is called the interquartile range. We can say that Kevin's average score is anywhere between 10 and 18 points. This is very helpful for anyone wanting to evaluate Kevin's average performance. It shows us nicely where the 50% of his data lies. If you were to look for the interquartile range, you can easily find it by taking your Q3, your upper quartile, and subtracting your Q1 piece of data for it, and that gives you what we call the IQR. Please answer the following questions at the end of this video to test your knowledge on what you've learned today in our learning lesson. Please bring any questions to class tomorrow. Thank you.